the AGM, we had 25 affiliates. 2 of them did not pay the affiliation fees and decide to opt out as affiliate, being Flash and SPH. Actually, SPH sent in writing that they do not want to be affiliated. And then 2 days ago, they had a phone call to Yorkfi, I think, 2 days ago, asking for re-affiliation again after sending a written mail to us that they want to be delisted. So we told, was it Naikin or what? We told Naikin you could go through the whole process of being affiliate again, because he sent a black and white saying that he wants to be delisted. So that's why we have 23 affiliates instead of 25. In terms of responding, there were 64 who responded, and in the attendance list today, we have in the floor 58 of you. So we do have a quorum, alright? So we can commence according to the agenda that you have received in front of you. First of all, I think in my address I want to just run through what the management committee has done the last 12 months. It has been a very steep learning curve for all of us because most of us are new. But the first task we need to do when we came in was to renew the funding. And to do that, we have some PowerPoint here. There are 3 things that we need to do to get the fundings back from SSC. The first one is to complete SSC's internal audit of SAA. Second one was to present a multi-year sport plan from 2010 to 2014. The third one is to register all NSA as Charities Act. Let's run through each one of them. Under the internal audit of SAA, the Finance Committee worked very hard. And the internal audit was officially cleared by SSC in January 2011. After which, 495,000 was remitted to SAA on February 2011. This amount is the funding for FY10, which had been previously withheld. Now, this internal audit highlighted various measures which SAA has now implemented for proper governance. I'd like to thank the Finance Committee for achieving that. Next, the multi-year sport plan for 2010-2014. We had a committee to work very hard on this multi-year plan. We spent sometimes, I remember Edwin from SSC, some of the weekends we spent working on this multi-year plan. And this was presented to SSC during November 2011. 2010, I beg your pardon. Now, approval of MYSP is mandatory for continued funding from SSC. Our MYSP for 2010-2014 received favorable feedback from SSC, and I'm glad to announce that SAA is one of the 21 NSA in Singapore that received a 3-year funding. This 3-year funding commenced from financial year 2011. The current FY11 funding for SAA is approximately 900,000. Now, this confirmation of the 3-year funding is a recognition of the comprehensive plans that we have submitted. Strategically, this 3-year funding is important because we can start working in our vision to place Singapore as a Southeast Asian's top athletics nation with a cohesive and successful long-term system to develop and support athletes, coaches and officials. In terms of performance, the last 12 months, 24 national records were broken. At this year's National Schools Athletic Championship, 13 records were broken, 7 boys and 6 in the girls. Notably, I think you read Sean Lim, not only did he break the A boys pole vault with 4.8 meters, he also broke the national record, which had been standing since 1993. Now Sean has since broken the 4.80 with a 4.81 last weekend at the under 23 meet, which still had to be ratified by SAA. At the recent C Junior meet held in Jakarta, our boys and girls did us proud. We achieved our best results at this competition so far by winning 4 golds, 3 silvers, and 5 bronzes. And at the same time, 5 age group records were broken. For this IAF World Youth Championship to be held in France on July 6 to 11, 2011, 8 of our athletes have qualified based on the qualification set by IAF. 4 athletes have qualified for the Commonwealth Youth Games in September 2011. The qualification for Commonwealth Youth has been set by SNOC based on the 6th placing of the last games. Now all this augurs well for athletics in Singapore. We do have a group of rough diamonds. I won't call them talents yet, but rough diamonds. And this rough diamonds needs to be nurtured, needs to be polished to unearth the talent in them. We have taken various initiatives towards implementing a multi-year sports plan, but to get there, the cooperation of all stakeholders like yourself to work together as a team is essential. Now the third item on getting the funding was the Charities Act. With effect from 1st of February 2011, SAA is now a charity under the Charities Act, as I said, required by SSC. Now with this, SAA will not be taxed, but the need to abide by the Charities Act Code of Governance means that we must be more vigilant in our management and governance. After clearing the funding issue, the next highlight that we have to speak about is the Stanchart Marathon. As we all know, the standoff between SSC and SAA over the Stanchart Marathon was there for about 2 years. This was finally resolved during the 3rd quarter 2010. SAA agreed to sanction the event. During the time, actually we didn't have much to do because most of the planning and all that were already done. We received a sanction fee. Well, the sanction fee was only 75,000 for the 2010 event. It does mark the beginning of the continuation of our cooperation with SSC on this marquee event. As the President, I'd like to inform everyone here that we have started numerous dialogues with SSC on the SCMS 2011. We will be very much involved, more involved. Well, last year we were not involved, just the sanctioning. We have a series of meetings. We're going to have a meeting in the 2nd week of July. And next year, I hope I can, in the next AGM, I think we're going to get at least 2 times more than what we can get this year. So it's a good news for us. But at this point in time, we are still having some discussion with SSC, so I'm not at liberty to discuss details. Now, a point to note is that despite not enjoying the net revenue of, if you look at the financial statement that we have presented in our AGM booklet, In the year 2010, the previous financial year, if you look at the income expenditure portion, that appeared to be about 1.5 million surplus from the Stanchart Marathon. Of course, during that year, there were no funding from SSC. Now, the point to note is that despite not enjoying the net revenue of about 1.5 million from the marathon during that financial year, the management committee are still able to have a healthy reserve of $764,778 in our current financial year. I think this is true, very prudent financial management. Okay, next item, YOG. The previous management was actually already in the midst of the preparation for the inaugural YOG. The athletics event was held on August 17 to 23rd at Bishan Stadium. The meet was very well run and organized, and congratulations to all involved. We received YOG funding of $140,000 from SSC. Next, cash sponsorship. I was talking about Sean Lim's record breaking in the pole vault in the under-23 meet last year. Now, the under-23 meet was one of the initiatives we take under our multi-year plan to basically cater for athletes between the age of 17 to 23, more the polytechnic, ITE, and the university age. And I'm glad to say that we received a cash donation of $100,000 from Sun Investment Private Limited. This is for a 3-year sponsorship for this for the event. So I'd like to thank Mr. Sun Hui, the person on my left, and he is the owner of this company. We'd like to thank him for that kind sponsorship of $100,000. Now, next thing, I like to speak a little bit more on this website. Our new website actually was launched to coincide with the opening ceremony of the YOG last year. The reason being, most of the young kids, they use the internet. Not that we don't use, but I think they use more. Okay? I hope all of you get into the website because we have really improved the website. And the website is to make it more effective, more interactive and all that. We have linked the website to the Twitter and Facebook and all that. The important thing you notice in our website, we have been building up our contents, like videos of our athletes, particularly breaking records. We have video of our press conference, like the under-23. And very important, we have a press conference of events like we have now a quarterly dialogue session between SAA and parents, parents, coaches, and athletes. All these are on our website. Now, the important thing is that once you load up the content in your website, then eventually there is a possibility of a commercial value of your website. So that is the reason why I said we want to encourage all of you to get in your website, have a look at the effort we put into that. The more contents you put in, the more eventually the commercial viability of the website it is. So one day, who knows, maybe our website, we can use it as if you pay like your these apps 90 cents to get your video and all that. That is our long-term plan. But basically, look at the content, look at the video. It's a very interesting website we have. Okay, finally, we've done all this. I'd like to mention a little bit on the Secretariat. Now, the AGM last year was held June 25th, 2010. When we were elected, there were resignations en masse from the key appointment holders of the previous Secretariat. It's so coincidental that the last day of employment was also on June 25th. Only Stephen Yeo, the previous GM, was there to hand over to our current MC. the lackadaisical handover took less than one morning. Files were not properly kept and updated. Officials, like Chief of Photo Finish, relinquished their appointment also on June 25th, and this was only reviewed at subsequent MC meetings. Stock taking and taking over equipment did not take place. In this regards, I'd like to thank William Wong, actually, a VP of Finance, who quickly stood in as an interim GM, free of charge, volunteer basis, to manage the secretariat before we found suitable replacement. It was a real baptism of fire for many of us, but on hindsight, it was a quick and useful learning process for all of us. Now, what do we learn from this? Now, it's from this experience, I told the current secretariat that I emphasized to them that the role of the secretariat is to serve the athletic community, regardless of the election results. Files, records must be kept properly, and if kept it must be kept in the SAA office. Only with this proper system can we even think of going ahead with improving athletics. I hope sports administrators live by the 3 Olympic values which Kunalan always profess, which is excellence, respect, and friendship. In conclusion, allow me to use an excerpt of Mr. Loh Ling Kok, in his President's address at the last AGM. He said, the new management committee would have a mammoth task ahead of them to sort out the impasse with SSC on the funding. And then he continued towards the end. He said, President also said that apart from these 3 sets of funding, now these 3 sets of funding he referred to were the retrospective funding in financial year 09, YOG funding, and for the few months of funding for financial 10. Apart from these 3 sets of fundings, the new management would have to address the question of resumption of funding for the new FY 10-11, and on top of that, to sort out SAA's organizing rights of the Singapore Marathon for 2010 end. President said that apart from the aforesaid issues, the new team would have to organize the YOG track and field competition in August 10, and also the Singapore Open Championship 2010 organized yearly. President concluded by saying that the new team would have a tremendous task ahead of them and wished them well. That was a very good encouragement from Mr. Loh. Let me define impasse. Impasse is a situation that is so difficult that no progress can be made. In other words, a deadlock or stalemate. Now, the relationship between NSA and SSC should not and cannot reach an impasse. We are both partners in developing sports for Singapore, and we must work hand in hand together as a team. The new management committee of SAA has begun on this good working relationship with SSC on many angles. Aside from the retrospective funding for FY10, which under the financial regulations of SSC and in most government organizations is impossible to retroactively get at the money. Aside from that, the new team has worked very hard over the last 12 months to overcome the mammoth task that Mr. Loh has won us, and I think in that aspect I'd like to thank the whole team for working so hard the last 12 months. Thank you. Now, settling all these critical issues only marks the beginning of our long journey in our vision to place Singapore as Southeast Asian top athletics nation. But like I said earlier, to guarantee success, all stakeholders, like all of us, got to work as a team. I ask all of you to spread this message to the fraternity, and I'm sure athletics can only improve. Thank you very much. Now next, I'd like to confirm and adopt the minutes of the last AGM 20. Any question before we confirm and adopt it? Now there are two sets of the minutes. Can I the first part was written by the previous onset, Govinda Raju, and then when the onset was elected, I think the current onset took over the writing of the previous minutes. Can you have a few, take a look at that?